Hey everybody, today I'm super stoked because I'll be doing a first impressions ride of my new Norco Fluid full suspension carbon. This is the FS2 model, so it's sort of in the middle of everything, and yeah, I've ridden the sight, I've ridden the optic, I've ridden the range, so I'm really excited to see how this bike stacks up against those bikes. The idea behind this bike is that it has solid geometry and a solid base if you decide you want to get into mountain biking and you want a bike or a platform that you can upgrade along the way. This geometry I find to be very comfortable. It's super similar to the optic I've ridden actually, but the suspension kinematics and the way the bike feels in general is actually significantly different. When comparing the Fluid and the optic, I would say that the optic is a little snappier and sportier feeling, whereas the Fluid, the suspension feels a little deeper, a little bit more forgiving, and that makes a lot of sense because this platform, again, is designed for folks who are looking to just get into mountain biking and are looking for sort of like a solid starting point. So as you can see, I made a few modifications to the bike because that's what I do, and I like my bikes to ride a specific way. I have taken this bike out already for a quick ride, and I did find the suspension to be a little not too progressive, so I added a few volume spacers in the rear and a couple volume spacers in the front. I personally like to push into my bike a lot and generate a lot of speed. I like to land hard on stuff. So I do like to have a little bit of ramp at the end of my travels. Aside from that, I've switched out the tires just to some tires that I'm more familiar with. I do like the Maxxis tires, so I have a DHF in the front and a Dissector in the back. A little bit more trail friendly tire setup as opposed to like my usual Assegai DHR2 situation. I've got some of the new Cushcore Trail in the back, which is awesome as well. Oh hey, and yeah, if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button down below and subscribe to my channel. It really helps out a ton. Seeing as this is a trail bike, may as well kick the ride off with some trail riding. And then we'll migrate onto some more techie DH kind of trails. But yeah. So, for a baseline, like with all Norco bikes, I set this guy up using the Ride Align setup guide online, and I found that, you know, they recommended no tokens, certain amount of pressure, that kind of jazz, but I found that just a little bit too soft for my liking, so I tried adding a little bit more pressure, and then I found I wasn't really getting the small bump, and I still wasn't getting the progression that I wanted out of the oh god suspension. And yeah, so what I ended up doing is throwing a good 3 volume spacers in the rear, then 2 in the front, and then running the recommended pressures that the Ride Align setup guide spat out for me. So far it's feeling pretty good. It's definitely a little sketchy today because all the leaves are coming down, and I don't think they blow the trails this time of year, although this one seems to be pretty clear, which I'm not mad about. So right away I find that the Fluid just kind of feels a little deep, or a little deeper I should say. So you're a little bit more in the bike than you are with, say, like the Norco optic. And that's definitely a nice feeling for, you know, sort of an introductory mountain bike. And I like how you can get it in sort of a more Gucci carbon version, or, you know, if you're just really kind of getting your feet wet, you can start with the aluminum version. And you know, they're the same geometry, same everything. The only thing you're sacrificing is a little bit of weight, and that's pretty darn cool. Oh, you know, because you're in the bike and it's sort of, it likes to sit in its travel a little bit more than the optic. You know, it's got loads of grip. That's also not to say that the optic isn't grippy, because the optic has plenty of grip, but this bike, you definitely feel the grip. Sort of back to the Ride Align setup guide, Norco definitely states on their site that it's really just a baseline, and you know, rider preferences are pretty subjective, so settings there are not set in stone. You know, if they don't work for you, you can change them. But I do find it extremely helpful to have sort of a baseline setup, because otherwise it could take, you know, better part of a month to get a bike set up, you know, if you really are nerdy about dialing that stuff in. Some people can just hop on bikes and, you know, let them go, but yeah, it's cool. The bike definitely feels plush. Love it. Yeah, in that sort of instance, those volume spacers really come in handy. Definitely bottomed out there, but was not nearly as harsh as without the spacers. So something you want to consider if you're somebody who rides a little harder. Let's talk about climbing. Like I said, I already did one short ride on this bike, and like any modern trail bike today, climbs really comfortably. And if you're concerned with efficiency, there is a lockout on this bike. So unlike the Optic, which just runs that sort of specific custom tuned DH shock, this one has a little lockout switch. So, you know, for those fire road climbs, or if you're just on like some smooth single track switchbacks, climb switch is your friend. But for this, I always keep it open because I like traction and I like being comfortable, which I'm sure is not a lot of people are going to argue with. Nice and blown. Definitely need to add just a little bit more air to their back end. Just a little. Now we're going to test the descending prowess of the Norco fluid. Camp Fortune, do a little Q cup into liquor and smokes, into no name, holy smokes it's windy, into Q cup. Oh yeah. Whew. You definitely feel you're like on the limit of the bike, but overall it's not too bad given the fact that it only has limited travel. Ooh. Definitely jumps well. That's kind of like the hidden superpower of these like 130, 140 mil trail bikes is, yeah, they just jump so damn well. Sorry for the sound effects. Woo. Sick. And we're unclipped. Love it. And we're back. Nailed it. Oh God, please. All right, let's go check out New Q Cup. Holy berms. Whoa. That's sick. That's pretty neat. Oh yeah, handles it like a champ. Sick. Oh gosh. Whew. All right, this section's new too. Oh, whoops, oh God. Short kicky. Oh yeah, sick. Didn't think I was gonna make that one. That's rad. Woo! If you're looking to pick up a Norco fluid or a Norco optic, you can head over to norco.com and you can actually order your bike to the Norco dealer of your choice. So Full Cycle in Ottawa would be one of those examples. And the fluid aluminums are on sale. The optics are also on crazy sale. So based on sort of what I've chatted about, you can sort of pick the bike that fits your riding style best. Again, I'm stoked to try this out. I find the fluid aligns a little bit more with the sight. It kind of feels like a mini sight, whereas the optic is sort of in its own category of like really snappy, sporty trail bike. All right, so that's it for me. I hope you liked the video and I will see you all out on the trail.